Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Today is July 26th. Dylan Cease has thrown a no-hitter. Randy Arozarena got moved. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Steven. This is the middle of the order. How are we doing today? We've got ourselves quite the episode here. Lots to talk about for this very special episode. With all this great baseball news to talk about, I'm really excited to get into this one. It's also the 150th episode, so that is absolutely astounding that I've been able to keep this up. And I appreciate you all who have been here listening to some of these episodes and joining in. Means a lot to me. And if this is the first one you're listening to because you wanted to hear something about the Randy Arozarena trade or the AJ Puck trade or Dylan Cease's no-hitter, hey, how's it going? Welcome. Stick around. There's some good stuff here, good baseball content for you. With that all being said, we've got a lot to dive into today. So let's, as always, start off with our series recap. All right, leading things off, we got a couple of games from the weekend to dive into here. Rays and Yankees, Game 4. The Rays had a 2-1 series lead after winning 2 of 3 from Friday through Sunday. And the Yankees kind of showed them up here in this last game. They beat them 9-1. Juan Soto, 2 home runs. There was a little bit of some slow trot scuffle between Jose Siri and Juan Soto here, so something to note there between the Rays and Yankees, but the Yankees win it and they even up the series. They split the 4-game set, 2 apiece. Mets and Marlins now, same thing. They're playing a 4th game. The Marlins had a 2-1 series lead, but the Mets show up. Specifically, Francisco Lindor, he has a 2-homer game. Mets win it 6-4, and they split the 4-game set with the Marlins 2 apiece. Now on to the new baseball, and we're starting off with the second half of the Subway Series in the Bronx. Mets take the first game 3-2, and then they demolish the Yankees in the second game 12-3. The Mets sweep the Subway Series. All 4 games between the Mets and Yankees this year won by the New York Mets. How about that? The Mets on an upward trend. Yankees spiraling down. Rays and Blue Jays now. The Rays took the series opener 4-2. Blue Jays came back to even the series with a score of 6-3, but then the rubber match got embarrassing for the Blue Jays. Tampa Bay took control, wins that one 13-0. Ernie Clement had to pitch in that game. Rays take 2 of 3 from Toronto. Phillies and Twins. This one was a big series for Minnesota, who ends up taking 2 of 3. They win the first game 7-2. Phillies bounce back with a great start from Zach Wheeler to make it 3-0 win there. And in the final game, the Twins get a walk-off from Max Kepler up the middle, a little shallow. Infield single for Max Kepler wins it for the Twins, walk-off style. They win it 5-4 and take 2 of 3 from the Phillies. D-backs and Royals. This series started off a little testy. Royals up big in the first game. Bobby Witt, a triple, a home run, a double. He's a single away from the cycle and he gets hit by the pitch. Not happy Royals fans, not happy Salvador Perez. The Royals do win that game 10-4, but the D-backs strike back in the next 2 games. They win it 6-2 and then 8-6 as Arizona takes 2 of 3 from the Royals. Tigers and Guardians now for 4, and the Guardians offense right now has been a little bit of a standstill. Tigers take the first game 8-2. The Guardians though can outpitch in the next 2 games. They win it 5-4 and 2-1, but in that last game it's the Tigers who take the win. Javier Baez hits his 2nd home run of the year, his first since April 14th. Tigers win it 3-0 and they split the 4-game set with the Guardians 2 apiece. White Sox and Rangers now for 4, and this was a huge series for the Rangers because the White Sox are ass. Rangers win it 4-3 on a Wyatt Langford walk-off single to left field. That's the first game. Second game, 3-2 Rangers. Third game, 10-2 Rangers. They blow it up. And the last game, 2-1 Rangers. The Texas Rangers sweep the White Sox in a 4-game set, and that is huge for them. Momentum is building for the defending World Series champions. Can they make a late season push? What are they going to do at the deadline? Astros and A's now. After the Rangers took 4 from the White Sox, you think the Astros needed a bit of a better response. They lose the first 2 games to Oakland 4-0 and then 8-2 as we had another Lawrence Butler. He was a single shy of the cycle. He had the home run, the double, the triple. He got walked in his final at-bat. So it's a couple of cycles going away from happening just based off of singles alone. The Astros, though, do respond in the final game. They avoid the sweep and win that one 8-1 there. So how about the Mariners? Astros won a game, Texas won 4. What is Seattle going to do against the Angels here? The Mariners lose. They lose big time. They got swept. It's looking pretty grim right now if you're Seattle, but maybe there's some good news later on. Angels win the series. They sweep 3-1, 5-1, and 2-1. Mariners cannot score more than 2 runs in a game. Yikes. Baltimore and the Marlins, Orioles and Marlins here, and Miami came out swinging in the first 2 games, 6-3 for both of them. Game 1, 6-3, Game 2, 6-3. AJ Puck in the first game was the last game he'll play on the Marlins. He wins that one. It was 2 innings pitched, 3 Ks, no hits, so good way to send off from your team there. Game 3, Baltimore had a huge lead late, but in the 8th inning and 9th inning, it gets away from them. The Marlins tie the game up at 6, and we head to extras. Baltimore, though, holds on. They get a run and hold Miami. They avoid the sweep and win that game 7-6. It was almost a choke job, and right now Baltimore does not need to be doing that. Padres and Nationals now. The Padres, what a series, what a team the San Diego Padres are turning into right now. They beat the Nationals 4-0, 12-3, and then 3-0 as Dylan Cease throws the no-hitter to complete the sweep. A fantastic series for the Padres. We'll dive into that no-hitter. Padres sweep the Nats big time. Reds and Braves now. The Reds take it first game 4-1. Second game gets rained up, which means we need a double header on the third day. The second game gets finished 9-4. Reds win it, but the next game that caused the double header, that has also gotten rained out, so that one is now scheduled for September 9th, which means as of now the Reds take a 2-game mini sweep over the Braves. Yikes, Atlanta, what's going on? Cardinals and Pirates now. The Pirates looking to make some noise and potentially chase down a wild card spot. Cardinals trying to do the same and potentially even the division. Pirates win it the first game 2-1. Cardinals then win the next game with the same score 2-1. It was Paul Skeens' first loss of his career. He went 8 1/3 into the 9th inning. Pirates offense just couldn't back him up. Lance Lynn recorded his 200th career, 2000th, that's the one I'm looking for, 2000th strikeout of his career. Rubber match, though, goes Pittsburgh's way. The Pirates take 2 of 3 from the Cardinals, win that last game 5-0. Brewers and Cubs now. The Brewers trying to hold off on that NL division lead for them in Central. The Cubs, though, take the first game 3-1, but the Brewers bounce back 1-0 in game 2, and then 3-2 for the final. The Brewers take 2 of 3 from the Cubs. We've got the Giants in LA taking on the Dodgers for 4, and it's pretty much all Dodgers in this series. 3-2 Dodgers in the first game, 5-2 Dodgers in the second game, but duly noted, Tyler Fitzgerald for the San Francisco Giants, he hits a home run to make it 5 straight games with a home run. He's been on a tear this past week. Then we got a couple of returns here to end off the series. Third game, meet Robbie Ray, Giants fans. He is back, makes his season debut. Tyler Glasnow returns from injury. This is the game the Giants win 8-3 here. And then the Thursday game, hello Clayton Kershaw making his season debut. Dodgers take 3 of 4 from the Giants, win that last game 6-4. As we head now to our final series, it's the Red Sox and the Rockies. Crazy first game here, 9-8 Rockies. Ezekiel Tovar walks it off in 12. Absolutely wild stuff. Red Sox get the next game 6-0. But the rubber match, ay caramba, 20-7 Colorado. You let the Rockies score 20 runs against you. The benches cleared in this game. Cal Quantrill and Reese McGuire exchanging some words. Rockies take 2 of 3, and that is your series recap. All right, now let's stay with the Rockies and the Red Sox here for the game of the week, but we're not going to be talking about the last game, that 20-7 explosion by the Rockies, a grand slam in the mix as well. We're going to the first game for the craziness that ensued there. We will be talking about the bench clearing, though. Game 1 of this series was a little hectic. Bottom of the third is when the scoring got started for Colorado, and that was in a big way. Charlie Blackmon hits his 7th home run of the year. It's a 2-run shot. Later on in the inning, Brenton Doyle, he doubles in a run, and then Michael Toglia singles in a run. It's a 4-run inning for the Rockies, but hold your horses because the Red Sox in the 5th, they get a 4-run inning. Jamie Westbrook, his 2nd home run of the season. A 3-run shot put the Red Sox within 1, and then later on, Rob Refsnyder singles in a run. We got a brand new ball game, 4-4, until the 7th, where Jacob Stallings, he doubles in a run. Then in the top of the 8th, the Red Sox tie the game. Connor Wong hits his 9th home run of the year, solo shot. It's 5-5 as we head to extras. Top of the 10th, the Red Sox get a couple of runs. Dominic Smith, a double for an RBI. Rafael Devers, a sac fly. Boston, a 7-5 lead. You think they would be able to hold this lead? Well, you were wrong. Down to their final out, Sam Hilliard hits his 3rd home run of the year. That's right, you let Sam Hilliard beat you here. That ties the game back up at 7th. We would need more. 11th inning scores now 1. In the 12th, it's Wilyer Abreu for the Red Sox. He singles in a run. Red Sox retake the lead. Bottom of the 12th, Jake Cave, he singles in a run. It's an error by Tyler O'Neill out in left field. 8-8 is the score. Bases loaded, it's Ezekiel Tovar, the single to walk off the Red Sox. A pretty brutal win, or pretty brutal loss for the Red Sox. They're trying to chase down a wild card here, and they're losing 2 of 3 to the Rockies in an embarrassing can't finish a game style, and then a 20-7 loss. So some unfortunate games there, but that is your game of the week. 9-8, your final, Colorado in 12. Alrighty, let's dive on into all of this baseball news here. And, looks like things are already changing from what I had planned. I was going to talk about the Dylan Cease no-hitter first, but it looks like we have breaking news here, notification popping up on the old cellular device. James Paxton has been moved to the Red Sox for the 2nd time of his career. Would you look at that? Boston making a move after losing 2 of 3 to Colorado. So we'll dive in on that really quickly. Let me pull up James Paxton here. The Dodgers did DFA him, and I had that actually in my trade rumors part of today's episode, that there were teams going to be interested in James Paxton and after being DFA'd from the Dodgers. But it looks like that didn't last long at all. The Red Sox make the move for him. All right, James Paxton, age 35 years old here in his 2024 season. An 11-year career for him. He's been doing well with the Dodgers in terms of the win-loss record. In 18 starts, he's won 8 of them and only lost 2. 80% win rate. That's impressive. What isn't is his ERA. It's a 4.43. But of course, he's not the pitcher he once was when he was with Seattle. In 89 and a third innings, he's walked quite a few batters, 48. He leads the NL in walks, or at least he did lead the NL in walks. 11 home runs given up, 44 earned runs, and 64 strikeouts. So what is the Red Sox going to get out of this? You're going to get a guy, a lefty who you've had before. You had him last year, actually, with the Red Sox. He was 7-5 last year with a 4.5 ERA, so very similar numbers from last year to this year. And of course, he was hurt entering 2023, so he missed some of the season. He's been healthy. He's been doing well with the Dodgers in terms of just getting you innings, and that's kind of what Boston needs sometimes, is to get through 6 innings and then go to the bullpen. Red Sox have some great starters. We've mentioned Tanner Hyuk, all-star, superstar. Carter Crawford's had a great season. But there are some other guys in there who's not going to give you, 6 solid innings, 7 solid innings of work. That bullpen's being taxed a lot, and that's causing them to essentially lose ball games. As we saw it here with the first game, the game of the week here on Monday, they had a lead in the 10th, 2-run lead. Couldn't hold it. They had a 1-run lead in the 12th, lost it as well. So it's tricky stuff here. James Paxton essentially have always been a starter in his career. I believe he has a couple of appearances out of the bullpen in playoffs potentially with the Yankees. But every time in the regular season, he's always come out and been a starter. I'm expecting that to be the case, but maybe the Red Sox make the move to use him as a bullpen. But very interesting stuff here from the Red Sox and James Paxton as a whole. We'll see how this kind of plays out for the Red Sox, because obviously they're trying to catch up on the Twins, the Royals, fighting for their wild card spot. The division's probably a little bit more of a far out spot for them, maybe a next year plan, but we'll see what James Paxton can bring with him back to the AL, back to the Red Sox. So there you go. That is some breaking news for you there. And now we'll dive on into the Dylan Cease no-hitter. What a start. What an appearance from Dylan Cease. Really outstanding stuff for him yesterday against the Nationals. He was phenomenal. And he did 3 pitches to do it. He threw 44 fastballs, 60 sliders, and 10 knuckle curves. All those 10 knuckle curves were to lefties. The four-seamer was getting up there in heat. He maxed out at 100.2 miles an hour on that four-seamer. He averaged on the day 98.3. He was phenomenal. And his fastball was flying. And a big reason why was because they were swinging. He threw 56 pitches in the strike zone, 58 of which outside of the strike zone. So he was throwing more balls, but the batter swung at 54 of his pitches. So they were getting caught looking, and it was not a great day for Nationals hitters. And more surprisingly, the whole game, only 3 balls were hit hard, which is 95 miles an hour exit velocity plus, 2 of which were grounders. There's a couple of close calls there, and Xander Bogaerts had to make a nice play to kind of save it towards the end there. The 8th inning was when some of those hard hits were happening. But only 3 hard hit balls, 2 grounders, and 1 fly ball. Dylan Cease, complete control of the no-hitter. It wasn't the first time he had gotten down to this percentage, though. There was a day back in, I believe, 2022, maybe 2021, maybe even last year. I don't think it was last year. It definitely wasn't last year, because Luis Arias was on the Twins, and Dylan Cease had been through 8 2/3. He was 1 out away from a no-hitter. He was facing Luis Arias, and Luis Arias broke up the no-hitter with 1 out to go. And that was a tough one for Dylan Cease. Now teammates for San Diego, Luis Arias was the guy. He wasn't even playing. He was the one who gave Dylan Cease his no-hitter baseball. So cool moment between those two. Great moment for Dylan Cease. The second no-hitter in Padres history. The first one, of course, Joe Musgrove a few years back in 2021 when he signed with the team. Now Dylan Cease joins him. They had a nice hug after the game as well. So yeah, good stuff from Dylan Cease here. Dylan Cease actually has been absolutely on fire in his last 3 games here. In his last 3 games combined, 22 innings pitched, 2 hits in 22 innings. That is dominant. He hasn't allowed a run. He has walked 7, but he struck out 30 batters. That's averaging 10 batters a game and 0.66 hits. He's only given up 2 hits in his last 3 games. That is really astonishing. And if you're like, oh, it's probably playing like Oakland. No, it was the Braves and the Guardians, 2 outstanding teams, one of which has Stephen Kwan, who is an absolute base hitting machine. Ozzy Albies was playing at the time when the Braves, but still, super great appearances against the Braves, Guardians, and now the Nationals. The Padres right now on a 5-game winning streak on an upward trend, hold the 6th wild card right now. Things are looking good if you are San Diego native right now. Can they hold it up and keep it up? Dylan Cease, could he win a Cy Young Award the way he's been pitching? If he keeps this up, 100% capable of doing so. All right, now we've got a couple of other big trades to go over here before mentioning them. We now have the Dodgers, what they're getting for James Paxton. Prospect infielder, 17-year-old Moise Bolivar. That's what I'm going off of here. So that's what the Dodgers are getting in return, a 17-year-old prospect infielder in exchange for James Paxton. That is your trade. Okie dokie now. Let's get into it here. I'm not sure if I mentioned... I'm going to mention this really quickly here just to throw it out there because I don't know if I mentioned it. Nick Ahmed signed a 1-year deal with the Dodgers. So keep that in mind. He hit a home run already with them. He went back-to-back the other day. So, Nick Ahmed, 1-year deal with the Dodgers. What does that mean for them going forward at the deadline? Not sure. This happened a couple days ago, so I don't think I did mention it. So, throwing it out there really quickly. It's fine. All right. The trades, the big one, happened at 1 a.m. last night for me in Eastern Standard Time. Of course, if you were in the West Coast, if it was in Seattle, it would have been about 11 p.m. the deal getting done. But I just finished work. I got into my car. I checked my phone and was alerted to the big one. Randy Arozarena is heading to Seattle. This is absolutely crazy trade. Braves fans, let me know how you're feeling because this one probably hurts a lot. Randy's a superstar. He's a free agent in 2027, so Seattle's got him for a couple of years of control right now. And things are looking good. In exchange for Randy, the Rays are getting a prospect in the outfield, Aiden Smith, a right-handed pitcher, Brady Hopkins, and a player to be named later. So 3 guys going in Tampa Bay's direction. For Randy. And let me start by saying this, despite, before we even get into Randy. If you are a Seattle fan, you are happy. It doesn't matter that you just got swept by the Angels. This is good and this is positive for you guys. Management knows that you guys are struggling. They see Houston and Texas slowly crawling their way back into this. They're going to make some moves. I bet you Seattle is not done. More trades are going to happen. They want this division this year after having it for so long. They want to be in this mix. They want to fight for it and be in the postseason. And this is only the start if you are Seattle. If this is all they do at the deadline and they hold out for the rest of it, it's a huge mistake and a huge L on Seattle's part here. But they're doing something. We still have a week before the deadline, so it's a little bit early. Maybe they paid a bigger price. Is there other fish out there? Who knows? But they get a guy. They needed some right-handed power. Nothing says right-handed power more like Randy. And also, we know, Randy, when the moment's at its peak, when it's intense, when you need a hit, when you need that home run, Randy will come in the clutch. He does it in the postseason. He did it in the World Baseball Classic. Some big moments against the Yankees. I'm telling you, if you're a Yankees fan, you're ecstatic about this news to get Randy away from you guys for a little bit. Getting out the division, that's big for the Yankees. But Randy Arozarena, right now, his arbitration deal is an $8.1 million for this year. And let's be honest, this season's been a really tough season for him. He made his debut in 2019, then he had 2020, kind of got a couple games in there. So he played 2 seasons in the big leagues, one with the Cardinals and one with Tampa Bay. Of course, the 2020 amazing postseason run where Randy got Randy's name. That led to him winning the Rookie of the Year in 2021. He was an All-Star for the first time last year, had great numbers. This year's numbers haven't been so solid. He has a .211 batting average, a .712 OPS, and only 15 home runs on the year. I say only 15, but, he had 23 last year, so he's only 7 away from tying his career best. But Randy hasn't been as Randy as we had seen him in the past before. So maybe the market, his price was a little bit worse from where the numbers have slowly declined since, COVID year, his rookie of the year season, his highest OPS. He hit 20 home runs, 145 hits. He's been a very solid ball player throughout. This year is looking like it's going to be one of his worst seasons so far outside of, his first year with the Cardinals. But there's a lot of upside with Randy. He is still young. I say young, but he is going to be 30 next season, which is kind of crazy to think about already. But I mean, this is great for Seattle. Randy's going to come up. He's gonna hit some huge home runs in Houston against the Astros, in Texas, as you hunt down for this division. It's a great signing. It's not signing, great trade. And if you're Tampa Bay, it was coming. We heard about Isaac Perez. We heard about Yandy Diaz and Randy and these guys potentially getting traded. I think if I was a Rays fan, I would have heard this and been like, there's no way we're going to give up Randy, right? And for him to be the first guy that gets moved, it definitely probably hurts. It's probably going to be a tough day for the Rays fans. Think about it. Tampa Bay in the East Coast, some of their teammates and players probably sleeping, so they're waking up to this news that their face of the franchise really is no longer on the franchise. So it's definitely gonna be a tough day in Tampa Bay for sure. And now with Randy gone, you have to think there's gonna be more. So I think Isaac Paredes gone, think Yandy Diaz gone, think Brandon Lau gone, and I mean it's a tough one because let's be honest. And the same can be said for Miami here. The Florida teams right now, they've got hit kind of hard. If their pitchers hadn't been injured, we wouldn't be talking about Randy to Seattle. We'd be talking about the Rays getting Julio or something along the lines of that. It definitely could have just been a different story here. Tampa Bay specifically, like they have 1 through 5 on the IL list. Shane McClanahan, Jeffrey Springs, Drew Rasmussen, Ryan Pepio. Like, it has just been an injured-filled Tampa Bay team going back to last season. All of those guys, Jeffrey Springs, Shane McClanahan, Drew Rasmussen, pretty much getting Tommy John surgery, elbow surgeries. Springs and Rasmussen are on rehab assignments. So that could be fun for Tampa Bay, get 2 months of like, okay, what do we have out of you guys back from injury and everything? And then maybe you look to regroup kind of for next season. Could be the case. Miami, same thing. They've got a 1 through 8 on the IL. Sandy Alcantara, Yuri Perez, Braxton Garrett, Sixto Sanchez, Ryan Weathers, Jesus Luzardo. That's 6 starters on the IL. And that's kind of derailed Miami. And it's probably why guys like Jazz and Josh Bell are going to get traded instead of them fighting for a wild card spot. Their starting pitcher depth, just when everyone gets hurt at the same time, it's a really tough look. And because of that, Randy has been shipped off to Seattle, and more to come from Tampa Bay as the sell-off will begin. All right, one more trade to dive into here, and I'm going to spend a little bit less time on it than I did with Randy. The Marlins are dealing A.J. Puck to the Diamondbacks in exchange for 2 prospects, infielder Davision De Los Santos and outfielder prospect Andrew Pinter. 2 guys there for Miami here in exchange for Puck. And this is what I just mentioned with the Tampa Bay teams, with the Miami teams, or in Florida. The starting pitching, when combined, there's 11 rotation pieces on the IL. It is not a recipe for a winning team. And when that happens, there are guys who unfortunately need to go. And Puck and Randy are those guys. AJ Puck, at least the first guys to go. Puck, we mentioned earlier in the season, he had some issues. He was struggling hard, and that was because Miami tried to use him as a starter. And I said it kind of one of the first episodes I did this year. It's not going to work. He was good in the bullpen. Put him back, and you guys will be fine. And I was right. He played 4 games as a starter. He was awful. a 9.22 ERA and lost all 4 of those games. And he'd given up 14 earned runs and walked 17 guys. Very poor numbers. Since then, he has played 28 games out of the bullpen to a 2.08 ERA. He has been phenomenal out of the bullpen as normal. 4-4 win-loss record. Of course, Miami not the greatest team. He has a save. Good for him. He's pitched 30 and a third innings in those 28 appearances out of the bullpen and only given up half of the earned runs he did in the first 4 starts that he had. The 4 starts that he had, he gave up 14 earned runs. In 28 appearances out of the bullpen, 30 innings, he's only given up 7. He's only walked 6. He has struck out 33. Basically, every number of his has improved since going back to the bullpen. His ERA has jumped down tremendously. Yeah, he belongs in the bullpen. Overall, when you combine the season numbers, he has played 32 games, made 4 starts. He has a 4.3 ERA, a 4-8 record, 44 innings, 21 earned runs, 23 walks, 45 Ks. That's when you combine it. But I like looking at his reliever numbers only because that's where he belongs, and that's the numbers that look pretty. A 2.08 ERA is pretty. A 30.1 innings in 28 games, that's nice. Only 2 home runs, that's wonderful. Everything about AJ Puk screams great when you put him in the bullpen where he belongs, and that's exactly what he's going to be doing here in Arizona. Arizona's bullpen depth hasn't been the same, I'm going to say, since last year's outstanding postseason run. But he's going to join the bullpen and be a nice piece there. They got guys now: Joe Mantiply, Ryan Thompson, Kevin Ginkel, Paul Sewald, Justin Martinez. AJ Puk is going to be a nice little mix up there. Probably the best lefty in that pin now. Joe Mantiply, I'm not sure how good his season's how his season's been so far. But yeah, AJ Puk finds a home in Arizona. Miami gets a couple of prospects back. Who knows what's going to happen with them. But if you're Arizona, you love the mood. You love to see yourselves adding. When you're in that NL wildcard mix-up right now between the 9 teams, if your team's going to be the one who is buying, that's a good sign. Arizona's only 1 game out. They're 7-3 in their last 10. They're behind St. Louis, San Diego, New York, and Atlanta, but they are ahead of Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, Chicago, San Fran, Washington even. So they're kind of like in the middle, but they're closer to the goal than being out of it. So they make the move, get AJ Puk. Good for them. Good job, Arizona. Way to appease your fan base. Alrighty. No way. Hang on here. I was going to talk about... What are we doing here? I don't even think I'm going to edit this out. What are we... Alright, well, we got some more breaking news. Jesus, this was... Whoa, what a trade here. Okay, Austin Hayes from your Baltimore Orioles, no longer on the team. He is a part of the Philadelphia Phillies, and what Baltimore is getting back is Seranthony Dominguez and Christian Pache. Wow, that is... I don't even know. I have no thoughts on this trade whatsoever. Oh my God, this is certainly something here. Just pulling up some pages here to read off of. Wow. Okay. Well, let's start with Austin Hayes, because, I mean, that's a big piece right there for Baltimore. Has been, even when they were becoming this juggernaut of a team they had. You know, he's been around with the team since 2017, really, 2019. Debuted at 21 years old in 2017. Didn't play in 2018, and then came back in 2019, his age 23 season. He's been 7 years in the big leagues here, and he was an all-star for the first time last year in 2023. This season, he's had some good numbers, a 255 batting average, a 711 OPS. Not really the home run hitter that he was back in 2021, 2022. Only has 3 home runs this year, 14 RBIs. Of course, he's only played in 63 games. That's the thing with Baltimore. When you have so many great players and great, spots filled, there's some platooning action going involved, which means Austin Hayes probably was only coming out to face lefties, really, make some pitching appearances and play against left-handed hitters, which is probably why he had limited playing time here with Baltimore. And Philly could use this depth right now. Definitely a better defender than anyone Philly has, to say the very least here. Nicholas Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber, those are the first 2 guys that really come to mind when you think about the Phillies outfield. Of course, they also had Johan Rojas as their speedy outfielder superstar there. They did have Christian Pache, but no longer the case. He heads Baltimore's way. So, yeah, that is a very big trade here. Austin Hayes finds himself on the Phillies. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a pretty crazy trade because it's 2 really contending teams. Like, this is a trade that you really don't know if it's going to make or break your season. And if I'm being honest, it would be amazing to see these 2 teams now face off in the World Series. Like, how amazing would that be? It's like, oh, Austin Hayes worked out for the Phillies, Sir Anthony Dominguez and Pache worked out for Baltimore, and here we are, and everything is just wonderful. That would be absolutely crazy. Of course, we know the Phillies had this amazing juggernaut of a rotation, of a bullpen. Everything really was strong here. And, to have the pieces to move is a great feeling. So Anthony Dominguez out of the bullpen. The Phillies had a surplus of guys, really, when you think of the rotation alone with Nola and Wheeler and Suarez and Christopher Sanchez. I mean, just star after star after star, and just like everything was going amazing for them. You look at that bullpen. Jeff Hoffman's taken a huge step up. He's been phenomenal. Matt Strom's been great. Gregory Soto, fantastic. Jose Alvarado, Orion Kirkering. Everyone on Philly had been this amazing superstar. They had plenty of depth in the bullpen, in the rotation, and sending, Dominguez over is pretty a solid deal if you're Philly over here. A 3-2 record, a 4.75 ERA, 36 innings, 6 home runs given up, 40 strikeouts. So he's still kind of on the lower end of this bullpen that Philly had. But we've known Baltimore struggles. We saw it yesterday, or I saw it yesterday. I was watching their game with Miami, and they almost blew that game. They won 7-6. They got lucky in extras, but they let Miami, the Marlins, in 2024, creep up back into that game. The bullpen is not solid. Without Felix Bautista, I'm worried about Baltimore's bullpen. This is a move that helps them out. It helps out Yurnier Cano with some stress. It helps take off some innings from Craig Kimbrell. This is some key stuff right here for Baltimore. And of course, they're not going to lose an outfielder either because they're bringing along Christian Pache, who, kind of like Hayes in this way, has been kind of depth for the Phillies because they've had so many amazing outfielders, and Castellanos has been playing great, and Johan Rojas and everything. Only played in 50 games so far this year, and he only has 21 hits, a 202 batting average, and a 557 OPS. One's a top prospect, really, and it's just not worked out. It didn't work out in Atlanta. It didn't really work out in Oakland. Philly last year, it was looking pretty good. This year, it's kind of reverted back. So it's just been about consistency, really, and he hasn't been able to find that. When you average his 5-year career, so his couple games, his 24 games with the Braves and his 91 with Oakland, his 98 with Philly combined across 5 years, he's played 213 games, and he has a 179 batting average and a 515 OPS. Only 6 home runs to his name and only 89 hits. So, I mean, can he figure it out? Baltimore being the 4th team already for this young 25-year-old. Will he be able to get an opportunity here with them? who knows? Baltimore's team is stacked. It's loaded, and there's plenty of more kids coming for Baltimore. So I mean, just something to keep in mind here. But it is very interesting seeing the moves here, seeing how two top teams have made this switch. When you look at Baltimore's team, Anthony Santander in right field is a star. Ryan O'Hearn being the DH kind of keeps him there. Not the best defender there. Colton Cowser's been great in left. They've got Cedric in center. And of course, Heston Kjerstad can kind of play the outfield corners if needed. And obviously they had Austin Hayes, but that's no longer the case. And to be honest with you, overall, looking at this trade, because it just happened, I don't really have time to kind of digest it fully. But I think Philly wins this trade in my mind. I really like Austin Hayes. He's been one of my favorite players on Baltimore's team, since 2019, 2020. And I think he's going to do really well in Philly and help shore up that outfield. I kind of like him there. He kind of fits the vibes that Philly has. So I'm very happy for the Philadelphia Phillies here. Baltimore, I don't think you lost the trade. Christian or Sir Anthony Dominguez is going to help that bullpen by having more arms there. It takes the pressure off some of the other guys who are kind of the great guys, and that lets them be okay with making a mistake here or there. I just think that, off of the outfield switch alone of Pache to Hayes, switching that around, it's just depth for depth essentially, and I think Hayes gets you more for Philly than Pache does for Baltimore. Of course, I'm sure Baltimore did it more for Sir Anthony Dominguez. Pache, they'll see what they can turn him into. If not, they have other kids in the farm system, and they'll make it work. So I still like Baltimore's position that they're in, but Austin Hayes to the Phillies is definitely the highlight there, and that's what I'm pretty happy about. So good for both teams, great for the Phillies. All right, hopefully there's no more breaking news and no more trades during the episode here. I'm trying to get this out, and this episode keeps getting longer and longer. The bench clearing in Colorado, let's talk about that really quickly. Reese McGuire and Cal Quantrill, the suspects here. Cal Quantrill, after walking off the mound, Reese McGuire had popped up and was running over. He was walking in his direction. Mouthed some comments of an incident that occurred with Reese McGuire a couple of years ago, basically saying I'm not going to read the exact comment here. I'm sure you could find it if you're very curious. Just search up the bench clearing and you'll see what the comment was, essentially. Something to do with a parking lot, and called him a dumb effer. And that sparked the bench clearing here. Of course, a very interesting case for Reese McGuire and what happened and how he's playing and exactly what it is. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty, just saying that for some reason, I don't know if there was anything in between them beforehand during the at-bat, didn't really see it during the at-bat, just kind of walked off the mound and yelled the comment at him, and obviously Reese McGuire didn't take it so kindly, so friendly, and that sparked the bench clearing. So that's what you gotta know about that. If you're curious about the comment, you can go and find it. Just not going to say it on my podcast. Don't want that kind of talk. Anyways, let's move on. Some other news that happened. Kevin Kiermaier is announcing his retirement from the MLB after the 2024 season. The superstar center fielder in outfield. I say superstar, but he was basically just an extremely amazing defender, a 4-time Gold Glove winner in his 12-year career. That's a pretty nice number there. He is 94 home runs in his career. Can he get 6 more in the rest of the season? Probably not. He's going to come up short of the 100 home run marker, which is unfortunate, but still a great career nonetheless. 370 RBIs, 491 runs, 890 hits. He'll get to 900 hits. That's, to be safe to sound. He spent the first 10 years of his career and kind of just where he grew up with the Tampa Bay Rays, only joining a new team last year, joined the Toronto Blue Jays, had a good year with them. This year, not so great. The Blue Jays put him on outweight waivers a couple of weeks ago. No takers there. So as we enter the deadline, it'll be interesting to see what Toronto does with Kiermaier. Do they look for someone to trade him to, or are they just going to hold on to him and let him, play out the last 2 months of his career? that will be a feel-good story kind of for Toronto, as their season's going to be imploding in the next week here. So yeah, things to keep in mind here, and Kevin Kiermaier. A heck of a career 709 OPS, a 246 batting average. Of course, never known for his hitting, but I'm sure he's got enough highlight reel plays that you can probably make half an hour plus compilation of all the amazing catches he's had over the course of his career. An outfield fanatic superstar, and yeah, just a great player overall. Jackie Bradley Jr. is signing a deal with the Mets. He is joining their team. Will head to the AAA team for now, Syracuse Mets. He's been playing with the team here, the Long Island Ducks, and he had been phenomenal with the team. He has a 1.204 OPS. That is very un-Jackie Bradley Jr. like, especially the recent Jackie Bradley Jr., maybe Boston Red Sox Jackie Bradley Jr., a little different. But he's been playing really well with the Long Island Ducks. He had a 28-game hitting streak before joining the Mets here. That was the longest in Long Island Duck history, and just 3 games shy of equaling the longest in the Atlantic League history, which whatever league he's playing in. He has a 471 batting average, 56 hits, a 537 on-base percentage, and just outstanding numbers for him, realistically. 12 home runs, 35 RBIs, 66 hits, 4 doubles, 2 triples, 23 walks. Yeah, outstanding stuff from Jackie Bradley Jr. with the Long Island Ducks. We'll see how that translates into the Mets season. But hey, if he comes up with the Mets and starts playing and starts hitting well and playing good defense, I mean, the Mets are just going to keep looking better and better. So, there you go. Mets sign Jackie Bradley. Kevin Kiermaier retires. Alex Cora gets an extension, 3-year deal north of $21 million, so he'll be making more than $7 million a season. Boston Red Sox had a kind of turning point season last year, being 5th in the division. Things were looking tough. This year, they've been playing a lot better. They've had some teams with some bad luck in the Blue Jays and Rays, so they have found themselves 3rd in division. They're chasing a wild card spot. Things are looking good. The team's coming together, and when your manager's, fighting for your guys and doing a great job, Alex Cora, I would say, is one of the better managers in the league right now. So, excuse me. So, his extension is warranted. I think it's good money and money well spent, as Red Sox shore up their manager for a few more seasons. So that is proper stuff there, and good stuff all the way around, really, for the Red Sox and Cora, to be specific. Trade rumors. I didn't really want to go. I mean, I did, but now not really. James Paxton DFA'd. Yeah, he's traded now. That doesn't matter. Mason Miller, we'll be talking about him. He landed himself on the IL with a broken left hand, potentially pinky. I'm not exactly sure. The original report said it was because he punched a table after a win. But then other stuff saying, no, that was not the case. He just landed on his hand awkwardly on the table. Either way, he lands himself on the IL, so you have to wonder now, how does that hurt his trade value? How long is he going to be on the IL? Is the team still going to want to make a trade for him? He's got plenty of years of control. I think this is worst case for Oakland, really, because if they were looking to move him, you're going to lose out on a potential prospect or maybe get a worse prospect for him. So something to keep in mind here as the trade deadline rooms on. The Pirates, they're quote-unquote looking to add, which I think is a great news for them, great news for Paul Skeens. One guy that they've mentioned, or that has come out in reports, is Brian De La Cruz from the Miami Marlins. I think this is a very nice fit. Brian De La Cruz, he is still a good hitter despite having some struggling numbers to support that this year. A 241 batting average and a 695 OPS. He has 17 home runs, 99 hits, and 24 walks. So the numbers could be better, but he is still a good player, and he's got a couple of years of control. So Pirates will see what they end up doing. But, I mean, for me, the news here is more that the Pirates are looking to add, and not trying to sell off a piece or two. They want to help Paul Skeens and Brian Reynolds and kind of build that core up. And in doing so, they're going to be looking to add potentially a guy with multiple years on the contract left. So Brian De La Cruz fits that mark here. And, of course, Miami, yikes. So I think this move is a good move, and I think it could happen here. So just mention that quickly. And the last bit of rumors here, or not really rumors, because Garrett Crochet's agents came out and said this. If traded for, he wants an extension with his postseason team, and he wants to stay a starter. These are some pretty high demands, I would think, for Garrett Crochet here. The staying starter, of course, not really. Of course, he was drafted from the bullpen. He played in 2020 out of the bullpen and has kind of been that guy. But this year as a starter, he's been great. I was worried about the move originally, but, it's worked out really well for him. And I would say the White Sox, but they're on an 11-game losing streak and they suck. But, to stay a starter, sure. To get an extension to kind of demand it, kind of like Glasnow did with the Dodgers. I don't know if he demanded it even. But yeah, that's something to kind of note if you're a team here looking to trade for Garrett Crochet, that he wants that extension, that he wants to stay a starter. So not only right now you have to talk with the White Sox of how you're going to get Garrett Crochet, but you're also going to be talking about with his agents about, hey, what's the extension looking like here? Are we looking like a 3-year something, like 45 mil, 60 mil? Are we looking at kind of like an 8-year extension? What is exactly he looking for here? So some things to note here in the trade rumor section as we continue on looking before the deadline. We got one more episode before the deadline would happen, and then the episode talking about all of the deadline moves. So we're getting pretty close to that. As we're getting close to the hour here, so let's try to bust through the rest of the stuff here. Injury updates. J.P. Crawford, he has a fractured pinky. He lands himself on the IL. Mike Trout, he was looking to rehab. He looked like he was trying to come back in his first rehab game. He had one at-bat. He struck out, and then he exited, and that is not good. He's considered day-to-day for now. Byron Buxton, he exited a game after getting hit by the pitch. We're not sure if he's going to land himself on the IL or not. Knowing Buxton, it's probably going to be a yes. I mentioned last time Julio Rodriguez ran into the wall and got left the game. He is now placed on the IL for sure, a sprained ankle. So we won't see the Randy Julio duo just yet, but believe me, Seattle, it's going to come. And then the big one here, Mason Miller, that's a big one, IL. Broken left hand is what I'm going to call it, because I don't know if it was the pinky on the table or hand, and did he punch it, did he land on it, whatever. Mason Miller, that's a tough one for Oakland, really. But the bigger one in my mind, Christian Yelich, lower back inflammation. He has landed himself on the IL. Originally, there was reports saying that it could be season-ending surgery for him. It looks like instead, Yelich is going to rest up and rehab to make sure he's good to go, and make sure his back is okay, and then a potential off-season surgery for him that he might end up taking instead of taking the season-ending run right now and already start the road to recovery. He's going to wait on it, hold off, and get it potentially in the off-season. So Yelich right now will be without the Brewers, and that could blow for them right now as they are holding an NL Central lead by, I wouldn't say the tips of their toes here, but Cardinals, Pirates slowly gaining some momentum. But yeah, those are the injury updates for that. Outstanding performances. What do we got here? We got some outstanding performances. Carlos Rodon with the Yankees, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 10 Ks. Hunter Green, 7 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, 7 Ks. Hogan Harris, 6 2/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, and 7 Ks. Bryce Miller, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 5 Ks. Paul Skeens, 8 1/3, almost a complete game already, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 8 Ks. Zach Wheeler, 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 7 Ks. John Gray, 7 2/3 innings pitched, 4 hits, an earned run, no walks, 5 Ks. Robbie Ray making his Giants and season debut. First inning struggles, but he shirted it up after that. He didn't allow a hit. 5 innings pitched, no hits, an earned run, 2 walks, and 8 Ks. Taj Bradley, 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, a walk, and 7 Ks. And of course, save the best for last, Dylan Cease. 9 innings pitched, no hits, no earned runs, 3 walks, 9 Ks, a no-hitter, and a win for the sweep. Good stuff all the way around here. As we now look into our stat leaderboard here, a couple changes since the last time we did one of these. Average, no longer Stephen Kwan, it is Bobby Witt Jr. He's been on a tear since the second half started. 344 average, he leads the league now. He also leads the league in hits at 141. Aaron Judge still leads in home runs at 35 and RBIs at 89. Runs, no longer Gunnar Henderson. It is a tie between Juan Soto and Bobby Witt Jr., of course. 83 runs apiece. Bobby Witt, could he make a case for the AL MVP, as I potentially may have predicted? Juan Soto still leads in walks at 82, Ellie De La Cruz in stolen bases at 51, and Judge in OPS at 1.107. For pitching, it is still Chris Sale who leads in wins at 13. New ERA leader, Ronaldo Lopez. He's been it before. He is back again. 2.12 ERA leads the league. Strikeouts. I mean, when you strike out 30 batters in 3 innings or in 22 innings in your last 3 starts, you get to be the top. Dylan Cease has passed, Tyler Glass now has passed Garrett Crochet and now leads the league in strikeouts at 168. And Ryan Helsley still leads the league in saves at 33, but some guys are starting to close in little by little. As we now will look at the upcoming series here, just busting through the last bit of the episode here. And there are some good series to keep your eyes out for. Padres and Orioles. That is a phenomenal series. Padres on a 5-game winning streak. They're hot as can be. Baltimore's offense and bullpen, so, this is a great series to watch. Reds at Rays. First look at Tampa Bay without Randy. Cincinnati looking to close in on that NL Central. Rangers and Blue Jays. Rangers on a 5-game winning streak after sweeping the White Sox. Blue Jays are bad, so Rangers another chance to keep going. Yankees and Red Sox. That's always, a rivalry is always fun. Cubs and Royals. Twins and Tigers. Mariners and White Sox. That's huge for Seattle because you just got Randy. The Rangers swept the White Sox. The White Sox are historically bad. 11-game losing streak. Seattle, you have to sweep. I'm not talking about win the series. Win every game against the White Sox. You have to right now. Dodgers and Astros, always interesting when these two teams meet up. A's and Angels. Guardians and Phillies, 2 division-leading teams, 2 amazingly talented teams meet up. Guardians struggling as of late, though, but this is a very fun series to watch. Braves and Mets. This is a huge series to watch because the Mets win this series. The Mets will be in second place in the East and pass the Braves. And, by the way, Kodai Senga makes his season debut tonight, I believe, for the Mets. So even more reinforcements for New York. The Mets on an uphill trend, big time. Marlins and Brewers, Nationals and Cardinals, Pirates and D-backs, and Rockies and Giants. So some definitely big series here, and big things to watch this weekend here as we are less than a week away from the trade deadline. So, some stuff's going on. Playoff predictor really quickly here. Hello, Astros. That is a statement. For sure. They are the first time here in the playoff predictor. They are the 3 seed right now. They hold the AL West. They would face the Royals and lose. Twins and Yankees in the other wildcard game. Yankees beat the Twins. Yankees at Oilers. Royals at Guardians for your ALDS. It is the Royals and the Yankees. So a couple of wildcard teams head to the ALCS. Royals at Yankees, and it is the Royals who head to the World Series. On the NL side of things, Padres and Brewers for the first wildcard game. Mets and Braves. They're meeting this weekend. I wonder who's going to win. The Mets beat the Braves, and the Padres beat the Brewers. Well, the Mets actually beat the Braves this weekend. Yikes. That leads to a Mets, Dodgers, Padres, Phillies division series, where it is going to be the Padres who upset the Phillies, and the Dodgers beat the Mets, of course, which means we have a Padres, Dolphins, Padres, Dodgers, NLCS. That's kind of the matchup people are hoping for right now. Padres get the better of the Dodgers, which means our World Series matchup is the San Diego Padres at the Kansas City Royals. The Royals have a better record still than the Padres. That's crazy. And you know what's even crazier? The Kansas City Royals, led by Bobby Witt Jr., would be your 2024 World Series champions if the season started today. Ladies and gentlemen, my voice hurts. That was a lot and a huge episode here, and I loved every last bit of it. If you stayed through the whole bit here, thank you so much. If you stayed for the whole episode. Double breaking news: Phillies and Orioles, James Paxton, Randy Arozarena, AJ Puck. The stove is heating up. The trades are going to start happening. Dylan Cease's no-hitter. An absolute crazy week of baseball and a crazy episode here from the middle of the order. I appreciate you all. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening. Enjoy your weekend. Catch some baseball. And we're going to see some potential last games for some players with some teams here as the deadline heats up. Trades will be happening. We'll see what happens and what we got to talk about Monday. I appreciate you all. I got to go drink some water. Thank you, everybody, so much, and I will see you on Monday.